It is a dreary day today, but inside we're feeling the festive fun. Welcome back everyone, it's Amy, it's another day of Vlogmas. Woo-hoo. If you didn't know, because you haven't already heard me say it like a million times, I am uploading a video every single day this month right up until the 24th of December, so make sure that you subscribe and press that little bell. Today's video is going to be super chilled. We're just gonna sit down and have a bit of a review, you know, like a look back at my 2019 and all of the many things that happened. I love to make these videos at the end of the year because I live a pretty fast-paced life. I mean, I say that as someone who's sitting in her pajamas at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But I mean, generally speaking, I move around a lot, I travel a lot, I seem to change jobs a lot. And so it's nice to sit down at the end of the year, look back and think, wow, I didn't make one of these videos last year, but I did make one the year before. And I just finished rewatching that today. It is so funny how much life can change in just 2 years, and also my idea of what was stressful 2 years ago compared to what my idea is of what is stressful now is very different. I look back at my naive little self feeling so overwhelmed by everything and I think, girl, you don't even know what's in store for you. And I'm sure that the Amy of 2 years time will look back at me now and think the exact same thing. Because this is the thing about life. You never know what's coming next. You never know what's gonna be around the corner. And it's nice to do something like this where you can sit down and look back at all of the things that have happened. So with all of that said, let's get comfortable. Maybe grab yourself a drink. A hot chocolate would be an excellent festive choice, but I don't want to dictate to you what you should drink. And yeah, let's get into this. So 2019, looking back at it, to be completely honest, it feels like a bit of a blur. It was a very disjointed year. It felt like a very long year. For once, usually I get to the end of the year and I'm saying to you guys, wow, it was just January, right? But this year I feel like, no, 2019, I experienced it, I was there for it, and I'm kind of ready for it to be done. It felt like a long year. Not that it was a bad year, but it didn't fly by like most years seem to. But it has been kind of a weird one. Like I said, it felt very disjointed, maybe because a lot of things happened. I was in a lot of different places, physically and mentally at times. But yeah, it was a good year overall, bit of a strange one. I say that at the end of every year, but let's think about what happened. So travel wise, when I first sat down to film this video, I thought to myself, oh, I always like to talk about my travels that I've been through over the last year. And I thought, oh, I haven't really been anywhere this year. But that was a lie. When I actually sat down and figured out all the places I had been, I went to Abu Dhabi, I went to Oman, I went to Italy, I went to Greece, I went to San Diego not once but twice, and actually did some really exciting exploring around different places in California while I was there. So yeah, I did do a fair amount of traveling, not as much as I had done like in previous years, so it doesn't feel like a huge amount to me. It's felt like a very kind of laid back year on the travel front, but I guess compared to the amount of traveling a lot of people do, it was still quite a bit. I think the big thing that happened in my life this year is that I fell in love in 2019. Cody and I started dating over a year ago now. Our 1 year anniversary just passed. We were on different continents, which kind of sucks, but it was still nice to have made it to a 1 year anniversary. But it was in February of this year that I was like, oh, I love this man. What a terrifying experience. No one ever wants to talk about how scary it is to fall in love. Everyone wants to talk about it's a really good time, feels wonderful, it's like you're floating on air. No, it's scary because it brings up a lot of unknowns. you put your heart out on the line and just hand it over to someone else and just say, do you mind holding on to this for me? It's very precious. You could quite easily smash it to pieces, but please try your best not to. You suddenly have to start making decisions with someone else in mind, which I've lived a very here, there and everywhere kind of life, as you guys know. It's very much, hey, I want to move to Kuwait. No, I want to move to Bahrain. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to be a teacher now. And I can do all of those things just at a whim because I never had anyone else but myself that I was responsible for, and I'm not responsible for Cody except for his laundry. I feel like I've somehow become responsible for his laundry and I don't know how that happened. But what I mean is I'm not responsible for him, but I do have to take him into consideration now when I'm making plans about where I'm gonna go next, what I'm gonna do for work. All of this suddenly is no longer just something I can decide when I wake up one morning. I actually have to make that decision as a partnership with someone else, and that's very unnerving. I'm not saying that falling in love is a terrible thing. It's a wonderful thing, but no one ever wants to talk about how it's really, really scary, and it is. But it has also been super wonderful, don't get me wrong. I love him and I love loving him, even though our relationship has been difficult. So I fell in love at the beginning of February this year, and at the end of February this year, Cody left the country and the continent and he went back to San Diego, and he has been there ever since. I went and visited, like I said, twice. I was so fortunate that I was able to go the second time, which we'll get into that in a second because that's a whole story unto itself. But being in a long distance relationship has been tough. We talk to each other every day, at least once, and it's still just, it's not the same. Okay, moving on from that, let's talk about my job situation in 2019, because that was another hurdle that I had to climb over. Do you climb over hurdles? You jump. I guess I jumped and tripped and fell and smashed my face on the ground. That's kind of how that felt. So I came back to Bahrain at the end of August, and I was returning to the same job that I did in the last academic year because I'm a teacher, but you guys get what I mean. So I was coming back to the same school to work, and I was so happy about that because as someone who's moved around a lot over the last few years, done a lot of traveling, lived out of a backpack more than I ever wanted to in my life, the thought of coming back to the same apartment with the same job and just slotting straight back into a life that I had already created for myself, that just seemed very calm and very straightforward, and like it would be a really nice change to all of the upheaval and just unknowns that I'm used to. But it was not meant to be, because I was met with a lot of upheaval and unknowns and stress and not so pleasant stuff. And I made a whole video about why I left Bahrain. I'm not gonna delve back into that now, but suffice to say, I left my job within a month of being there with no new job on the horizon. So I really just flung myself over the edge of that cliff, just with nothing but faith behind me. And you know what? It all worked out in the end. My philosophy is that if you just have faith and you believe that everything's going to work out, then you don't need to micromanage everything. Everything will fall into place the way that it should. And right or wrong, that's worked out for me so far. While I was in California, I was looking for jobs every day. Nothing was coming up. My flight was booked for the 3rd of November, and I ended up saying to Cody, hey, I'm gonna have to cancel my flight and stay longer because nothing's coming up for me. I can't go back without a job. And then I think it was the day before Halloween, so it was on the 29th of October, I got an email at 11 o'clock at night asking me for an interview at my, no joke, dream school. I couldn't believe that they'd even reached out to me. And so I did the interview at midnight that same night, got a job offer the next day on the 31st, and they wanted me to start on the 5th. My flight was booked on the 3rd. So it fell into my lap. It just all fell into place exactly the way that it should have. So now I am back in Bahrain, ready to go home for Christmas, and I'm looking back over this year and thinking, wow, that really was a lot. I really feel like this year has taught me to let go a little bit more, to not stress the small stuff like the me of 2017 was doing, and to just go with the flow. So obviously 2019 is not quite done. Between now and New Year's Eve, who knows what else is gonna happen. But you know what? Bring it on. I hope you guys enjoyed this little trip down memory lane with me. I know it was just like a super casual chit chat type video, but I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, then don't forget to go ahead and click that thumbs up button to let me know. Subscribe, don't forget about that bell. Go ahead and let me know in the comments section some of the big things that have happened in your 2019. Has it been a good year? Has it been a not so great year? Hopefully everyone's had a great 2019. But I'd love to hear from you guys, and till tomorrow, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember that you are wonderful just the way you are, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye guys.